Hello everyone, and thank you so much for coming back and joining me on my YouTube channel, Supreme Comics Girl. Now, I am going to be reviewing the 8th episode of Season 2 of The Mandalorian, but before I actually get straight into it, this is going to be full of spoilers, and I also want to say that we got sad news today in terms of Star Wars, because the actor who played Boba Fett, Jeremy, passed away. So I just wanted to sort of say that that is really, really sad news, and I'm sure it's, upset a lot of Star Wars fans around the world. But I wanted to first of all read out something that Mark Hamill, who of course plays Luke Skywalker, actually said, because I thought it was very sweet, and then we will get straight on to the review. He basically said he was a fine actor and a delightful company. He was so kind to everyone lucky enough to meet or work with him. I will deeply miss him, and I am so grateful to have had known him. So I thought that was really sweet, and I just thought that I would share that with you. And now I'm going to get into the review. So here we go. I really enjoyed this episode overall, absolutely. To be honest, the best way to describe it would be sublime. And I wouldn't say perfect. I have a small nitpick, but I will get to that at the end. Now, Bogatan and Kosuke actually reappear in this episode. Obviously, they are Mandalorians. And of course, we know that I was talking about this one of my last reviews anyways. Bogatan in Star Wars Rebels last wielded the dark saber, and in case anybody doesn't know much back history about the dark saber, basically I suppose you could kind of look at it as, well, I suppose of kind of like Game of Thrones, because whoever wields it is the the leader or whatever of Mandalore, and will sit on the throne of Mandalore, basically, so whoever wields it is the leader of the Mandalorians, basically. So she wants that back, okay? So she's a woman with a plan, and basically Mando and, Marshall Dinner, like, explaining to them that Gideon has Grogu, basically. And she wants to help them, and the reason why she wants to help them is because she wants to track him down, because she knows he has the dark saber and she wants to wield it. She wants to be on the throne, and I love that she's a woman with a plan, and very like her character, she's like, she very much takes control in this episode, and she brings up, the hologram and everything, and she's like, right, we're going to go to this bridge, and then you're going to go here, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and this is how it is, kind of thing. And I really love how her character in this episode sort of took control in that sense. And I want to throw in a really cool, I suppose you could call like throwback or Easter egg. The Bacta tank that Luke Skywalker was in the movie, because obviously he was attacked by a Wampa. Well, basically Kosuke sort of was saying to Boba Fett, if he pushes her any further, that he's going to end up in one of those tanks. Bit harsh, but I thought that was like a really cool throwback. So okay, then they end up on Gideon's ship. We're on the ship, right? And Mando, he sees all these dark troopers, and he closes the door. And as the door is closing, there's tons of them. Like, there is a massive array of these dark troopers. And of course Gideon has, and I love the red of their eyes, how that came out visually. That was really, really, really cool. Red there kind of designed by accident. But anyways, guys, and then just one of them, sort of his hand, the way it kind of like was opening the door, that was shot really well, and that was really cool. And I'm like, oh no, they're all going to come out, but just that one came out, and then the doors closed again. And the other ones were like trying to smash the glass to get out and everything, to get at Mando. And this one dark saber was punching him to a pulp. And he basically then puts him on fire, basically. And then he he gets the he goes over to the like a lever and pulls it, and literally all of the rest of the dark troopers just go and just like fly right down like that out of the ship, and I actually rewound it on Disney Plus 3 times. I actually watched it on my Mac computer this morning over a cup of coffee, and I watched it 3 times, and I don't know why. I just thought it was really, really, really funny, really, really funny. And then of course we get to what we've all been waiting for since the last episode. We knew we were going to get a face to face with Mando, and of course Gideon, and I am absolutely loving his character. His character is badass. Love the guy. He was the only good thing, really, to be honest, about the series Breaking Bad, because that series was so monotonous. Like, it was about the same thing from season 1 to 5. But anyways, right, he was a villain in it, and he was freaking brilliant, and he's freaking brilliant in this, like, hectic freaking well, yes. I am loving this character, right? So Gideon and Mando come face to face, and how that basically happens is the door opens, and it's like really cool looking, right? I'm sure you know because you've seen this anyway, and this is a spoiler review. But he's standing there, and I love how he's standing to the side with the dark saber, and he's there with little Grogu, and he's in like wee little handcuffs, and he's making little noises, like how heartbreaking. He's making these little noises. It's like, oh, as if like, oh, there's my daddy kind of thing. And it was so heartbreaking. And he was using the dark saber to obviously threaten I'm gonna say Baby Yoda, Grogu. And it was so sad, and he was just standing there like, oh no, what am I going to do, sort of thing. And he knew he's not stupid, like Gideon's not stupid, just like he wasn't in Breaking Bad, like when he was the character, like. But anyways, he was like, I know Bo-Katan's with you. I know what you've been up to. I know they're going to be at the bridge and yada yada. Because he's a smart guy, do you know what I mean? He knew what they were up to, obviously. So he's basically like, well, Bo-Katan ain't getting this dark saber. It's as simple as that. So Mando basically says, well, that's okay, fine, I don't care. He just wants the child back. And he said, I just want him back. And he went, okay, go ahead. Now, here's where I get to my nitpick. I thought this was so gosh darn stupid and so silly. Now, maybe it was just like a wee spare of the moment thing. And you know the way sometimes in life in general, you're in a situation and you're like, I can't believe I just done that or whatever. But this was really stupid. He said, okay, away you go. And he goes over, lifts up Grogu, but with his back facing Gideon. Now, I'm sitting there going to myself, I know I'm not in that moment, but if that was me in that moment and I finally got the little Grogu back, I would be standing sideways looking at him to see what he's up to. There's no way I would have had any trust in that guy whatsoever, like, because he was threatening him 2 seconds ago, right at Grogu with the dark saber. So I find that really silly of his character to have done that, but I just think he was in a moment of his heart was just like, oh, I've finally got him, you know. So I'm not saying that it's wrong for someone to like that scene. If you like that scene, you like that scene. But I just personally think it would have been better if he had have been looking sideways, seen him come at him, because that was obvious that was going to happen, and then set down little Grogu, and then had their duel fight. But anyways, we get to their duel fight. That's fantastic. That was absolutely amazing. You could even see, you know, Mando was using his Beskar steel, what do you call it, spear thing, whatever, spear, yeah. Beskar steel spear that obviously he got from Ahsoka. Ahsoka said that he could have it or whatever, right? And you could even see it was really cool when he was using the dark saber. You could actually see about that much of it was all like went red, almost melting. That was absolutely class visually, I have to say. And another thing I wanted to talk about was the whole dilemma of the whole dark saber. I thought that was so cool because they were sort of explaining all, you know, back history of how the dark saber works and all about the throne and everything. And I thought that was really cool, especially for people who, you know, haven't watched like Rebels and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But just in general, you know, people who are new, completely fresh, never watched anything to do with Star Wars, and they're watching this season, it kind of does it really, really well. That's something this show does, is really well explains things, even for people who are not really that big into Star Wars per se, is what I would say. So Mando obviously had wielded the dark saber, so now he has to go against Bogatan, and he was like trying to offer it to Bogatan. She was just like, well, I can't. And obviously we know she last had retrieved it in Star Wars Rebels. So we know you can't just hand it over. It's not like you can just hand it over and go, there you go, you know. And then the next thing, you have Gideon sitting there like laughing his ass off, like, ha ha ha, like you two have to fight off against each other. What I really loved was the fact that he was lying there loving it, right? And then he's like, oh, the only people who aren't going to die here in this room is me and the child. You know, obviously Grogu he's talking about. So all the dark freaking troopers come back, right? And I mean a whole ton of them. And he's like, oh, you couldn't even, or remember how you were like Mando up against one of my dark troopers? So what's it going to be like with a whole platoon? And you're going, oh my gosh, right enough. Like, that was bad with just one. So how are they going to cope? And they're all sort of standing there, you know, waiting, on guard here, waiting. And then the next thing, what happens? Enters the ship a Jedi. We know straight away it's a Jedi, and you're like, well, obviously it's not Ahsoka. It doesn't look like a woman anyway. Who's this going to be? Luke Skywalker. Luke freaking well, hectic freaking well, yes, Luke Skywalker. And I am sorry if anybody has anything bad to say about the CGI. That's not a problem. But in my opinion, the gosh darn got it practically almost perfect. His face, it's obviously a young version of Luke Skywalker, and he's coming to take him to train him. So he's going to be training him. And it was, I cried my eyes out. I got goosebumps on my arms, on my legs. I got the shivers. I seriously got goosebumps. When Mando took off his helmet, the Baby Yoda, or Grogu, was trying to touch him, and then he took his helmet off, and Grogu seen him, and he was all, and he was like, got his wee hand, and he was touching his face like, Daddy, I'm gonna miss you. And then you could see him start to tear up, and then when Luke went away, he was really, really tearing up, and like I was just like bawling my freaking well eyes out. But what was the two coolest scenes in this for me was when Luke Skywalker first entered with when he came in through the door, and it was all like white, like misty stuff or whatever, and the other that was like epic, literally epic, well done, hats off. The other part that I thought was fantastic and I really, really enjoyed as well was when Mando walked in and seen Gideon and Grogu, and then also the whole duel fight that they had together. But my word, this episode, like the ending, I was not expecting that before I watched this episode this morning. Like when when you're pouring out your cup of coffee and you're going, I'm going to watch the last episode of something or whatever, but you're not knowing what you're going to expect. Like that was definitely not something I was expecting to see at the end of this freaking well episode. And the little Easter eggs and everything they threw in there, with the tank and everything, like going back to the Wampa attacking Luke Skywalker, especially having that Easter egg in there with Luke Skywalker actually being in this episode. Does that make sense? Like, mind blown. Honestly, this episode was sublime. I probably will title my video something like that, that this episode is sublime. So that's all I have to say. That's all my thoughts and opinions. I mean, what I loved was the music at the end was very John Williams-esque, and I loved the music score by Ludwig Göransson in this episode. In case anybody doesn't know, he did Black Panther music. He did for the game Bloodborne. I'm a fan of his music anyways. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, guys, and thank you so much for checking out my video, and I will see you all soon. Bye, guys.